Hey guys, welcome back to Sabi and Lauren. We're doing a little video today, a 5-year anniversary of the accident, not anniversary of our marriage. And we're just answering some questions and reflecting on the last 5 years, pretty much is what this video is all about. So make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your family and friends if you like it. And you'll probably hear Sabia's father's voice in the background because he's the one asking the questions, so that's who you'll be hearing. So hope you guys like it. Enjoy. How am I doing? Well,
The animals love you.
the animals love me. 5 years later from the accident, pain has gotten way better. Ace, move, buddy. 5 years. Lay down, buddy. Jesus. Okay. So 5 years since the accident, my pain has gotten way better, way more under control, under my control, I'd say, given the techniques and tools that they gave me in rehab, breathing techniques, stretching, stuff like that. All that helped to erase my phantom pain within the first couple of years, and then slowly over time, I guess my body's just gotten used to the pain, and so it's dulled over time. But my pain's definitely more under control now. My health is a little wild and out of control. I have a kidney stone right now, which I have to have a nephrostomy tube in my kidney to relieve the pressure for, which I can't get rid of till the 12th of next month. And it's the 20th of this month, and I've already had the kidney stone for over a month. So that's been a little painful, and then with that came a kidney infection, and then from the antibiotics came C. diff again. But 5 years later, pain's under control. Life is finally managed in a way that we can control it now, or I don't know how to explain it. It's not as hectic. Things aren't like bombs dropping on us anymore out of nowhere. We kind of know what to expect with certain things and kind of can tell what's gonna happen. Me and Sabi are doing great. We don't get out much. We went to Lollapalooza in Chicago and had a great time, obviously, but ever since then we haven't done a thing, but that's because I have a kidney stone. So past couple months have been, or past month or two, have been kind of a slump, just hanging out at home, not doing anything because I can't sit up and go anywhere and do anything. So it's just me and her chilling at home. Just she's reading her books, I'm watching my TV shows in bed, and we're just existing.
Yes and no. Like, I saw us still being together and settled down, but I don't think I necessarily, I guess, had a vision for the future. It's just always kind of been in the now since the accident happened. So, like, when it happened, I knew I wasn't going anywhere. And then we went through the processes of the hospital and rehab, and then we got home, and then I don't know, I guess since the accident happened, I haven't really thought farther ahead than a day at a time. So I hoped we'd still be together, but I didn't really have any visions for the future. So
Yeah, I completely agree with what she said, and I mean that's pretty much how exactly it's been.
can I be real honest?
Yes, that's all I do.
I am not a very aspirational person. So as long as I'm still with Lauren and we're still comfortable, I'm solid. I know Lauren's more the dreamer out of us. I really just like being at home with Lauren and the animals and
Her books.
my books.
Buying
I'd
a
say-
house was one big milestone.
Yeah, and I'd say one of our first big milestones was trying to figure out the balance between relationship and caregiver / patient. So I'd say that took us a good 2 or 3 years to figure that out, because while we were figuring it out, there were moments where we'd go a couple months where it just more felt like a caregiver patient relationship, and then we'd go a little bit trying to overcompensate with the relationship, which would then lead to not necessarily neglect, but putting other things in terms of caring on the back burner. And so trying to figure out that balance of husband and wife while also carer and patient was, I'd say, one of the bigger, more difficult and drawn out milestones of trying to figure out. It definitely helped once we started bringing in a second caregiver, because then those were dedicated times where I was just his wife and he was just my husband, and in the terms of his care and stuff, that was on someone else's shoulders. And so that, I think, is when it really started helping us find that balance. But I'd say that was a really big one that we struggled with to kind of get over and figure out. 3, what's our third milestone?
Being together as long as we have. No.
Not getting a divorce. I'd say his
and-
new bucket was a big milestone with the air pockets, because we left rehab with the trial bucket because we were ready to get home, and then it still took a year and a half to get the final bucket, and it had a lot of hiccups because we came home from rehab with the trial bucket, and then after a couple months we had to go back to Chicago for a fitting, and then the fitting didn't fit, but then we had to go back home, and then they had to send the bucket for another fitting, and we had to do that fitting at a prosthetic company here,
And send it
and
back.
then we had to send it back, and then when they were finally finishing up that fitting, Lauren had his urostomy surgery that got rid of his nephrostomy
Which
tubes.
that would be a milestone.
Yeah, and
Because the nephrostomy tubes were terrible.
and because of that, they had to change the bucket again to cover up the holes for the nephrostomy tube and add the hole for the urostomy. And then we were still in Seattle from his surgery, so then they had to send the bucket to our hotel in Seattle. And then it finally was hours. So that was a 1.5 year long process. And by the time we finally got the official bucket, Lauren couldn't wear his temporary bucket anymore because he didn't fit it right anymore. And so it was hurting him more than it was helping him. So I'd say that was a pretty big
Yeah.
thing, having that final Roho bucket to allow you to get up the way you need to.
Yeah.
The puppy the puppy that we decided to bring to our house has been a terrorist, and I every day regret waking up. So she's been a big stressor. And I've been back to full-time caregiving for like a month now while we've been trying to find another caregiver, because the one we had graduated college and is finally starting her career. So she had to leave. And so it's been kind of stressful trying to find someone, because we don't want to go through like a company, because we don't really want strangers in our house or taking care of Lauren. And we've been doing friends and family since we started this whole second caregiver thing. And so trying to find someone who not only has the time but the willingness to step into that role has been pretty stressful.
Yeah.
And we have someone now, which is another stressor in and of itself, because it's been hell getting her home. But I'm gonna go on Monday, we're gonna go pick her up and get her out of where she is and bring her home, and she's gonna become Lauren's part-time caregiver. I think where we're at right now is a good place to be. I think in the beginning we were so new to everything, and we were still so young that we didn't know better than a lot of things. For example, we were dealing with work comp without having a lawyer to help us deal with work comp, and there was a lot of problems in that. There was a lot of miscommunication and a lot of and it's normal when you're in your early 20s for companies and adults to kind of look down on you and talk down on you, and we were getting that a lot with work comp. We were being treated like children a lot, when in reality it was our life we were trying to take care of. And then we finally ended up getting a lawyer that helped us with work comp, because he's like that's his thing. Yeah, that's his specialty, and we kind of got a whole little team, and that helped a lot. But I wish we would have done that from the beginning, because I think we would have avoided a lot of very emotional and stressful moments while trying, because we're already trying to navigate this new life with Lauren's condition, and then you throw on top the fact that nobody's looking at us seriously because we're just a couple of 20-year-old kids, so it was a lot of fighting for just getting a voice, and so I wish we would have gotten that outside help earlier. But other than that, I think we've been doing the best we can and going through the motions the best we can, and I think we're in a good spot.
So I 100% agree with everything you said.
Pay off all my friends and family's debts. Fix up his Ford truck.
She's right. It's basically like, what's your favorite food to eat?
I know, but it varies with you very, very severely. Okay, if Lauren could pick one dish to eat for the rest of his life, I cannot choose one, because your hyper fixated cravings vary so often, and 1 week you want this thing over and over and over again, and then the next week it's something completely different over and over and over again. So I don't think there is one.
I'd say meatloaf.
Meatloaf, not even in the arsenal of things I was thinking. Closest I had to that was maybe burgers. Those like campfire burgers from Jaker's with the barbecue sauce and the onions.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Forgot how much you like meatloaf. Such an American.
I love meatloaf.
Chicken Alfredo.
Boom.
Yeah.
It would be pasta, probably chicken Alfredo pasta, or definitely a type of pasta. If the man in the bucket,
list.
if the man in the bucket had a bucket list, what would it be?
I mean, it's the same answer to my last question. That's fix up his Ford.
Does Sabia have a bucket list? Sabia's bucket list would be to go to Harry Potter World down in San Francisco, or I think not San Francisco, down in Florida. And then she would also love to go to the Netherlands to visit her family that's still alive over there. And she'd also love to trek across Europe and all the different countries.
The moment I knew that I was in love with Lauren was the night he was coming over for a while, staying the night. And normally we just got a little freaky, but he came over one night, and we ended up just spending all night talking about like everything, like life and dreams and spirituality and all of that. And it was the first night since we started like seeing each other that we really like kind of opened up about anything, because before it was just all mostly just physical friendship stuff. And that night was the first night that we like actually talked about ourselves. And that's when it kind of hit me.
That I went over to Sabia's place, and she had to work the next morning, which she didn't care that I came over to bother her, and we literally just laid in bed and just talked for hours on end. And that was the first time I really opened up to someone, I guess, and whatnot. And we just connected on a different level, and she was the first girl I ever connected on that level to, and just talked to for hours on end and didn't do anything else other than that, and had a great connection after that. And so that's when I knew. Talked for like 8 hours straight.
Yeah. And I know it's the same night for him because we talk about it all the time together. That'll leave him. That I deserve someone better. I think that's pretty irrational.
I think it's rational, but
Gaia. Irrational. I don't know what he would have said for me. I don't even know what I would classify as an irrational fear for me, because I think all my fears are pretty rationalized.
Sabia have any irrational fears? No. She does have a little bit of an irrational fear of our public presence and what we share, though, because, not to be rude, but some of you guys are weird, or some people can be weird and do weird things, so. One sec. I don't know if I'd call that an irrational fear, though, because it's actually kind of irrational. So, no, I can't say she has any irrational fears. All of her fears are rational. I said that your fears are all pretty rational.
Yeah. There we go. I'll give you two answers. They're kind of the same but different. One has to do with us, and his biggest insecurity is that he's not good enough and can't that I deserve better. He struggles with thinking that I deserve someone better purely on a physical aspect. And in turn, it goes towards the outside world too, where he just sometimes feels inadequate in general around other people because of his inability to do certain things. He doesn't voice it as much as he voices the other one, but it's pretty easy to pick up on body language wise.
Sabia's biggest insecurity is her body. She's very insecure about how her clothes fit her and how she looks and stuff like that.
You what?
Myself. Yeah, I have really, really bad body dysmorphia. So it's probably the reason I don't like leaving my house. I don't like perceiving myself, and so I don't like other people perceiving me. Look at that, we know each other so well, Dad. I'm gonna give you two things. Because one we just brushed up on, and that's his constant state of not thinking he's good enough for me. In the beginning, when he'd do that, I would reassure him and go, no, baby, I love you. And now when he does it, I won't lie, I just say, shut the fuck up. Because it just pisses me off now. Which I get it, everyone needs reassurance. And the other one, that's just like an obvious, like, you should know by now that I love you type of annoyance. But the other one that's like actually like just blows my top is whenever we are arguing or having a spat. And this doesn't necessarily go for Lauren, it goes for everyone, but Lauren does it the most. And that's when I'm an over-explainer and I'm a repeater. So I need to really get my side out there, even if I say it the same way 6 times. And Lauren will get impatient and interrupt me or get annoyed that I'm repeating myself and over-explaining. And for me, when I get interrupted, when I'm trying to explain myself, I just see red and then I blow a top. And so for me, like, I just cannot stand when he interrupts me mid-sentence, especially during an argument, when I'm just trying to explain my side. And I get it's annoying for him that I'm repeating things over and over and over again, but that's what I need to do because I have that fear of being misunderstood or it taken the wrong way. So I have to just go back and forth until I'm like, okay. And then he can talk.
The amount of marijuana that I go through, and the fact that she has to go out, pick it up, and purchase it and whatnot, that's probably the number one thing that annoys her.
Procrastinate a lot, and I put things off until the very end, and even then I try to get out of them.
What are things in Sabia that drives me nuts is how she forgets things all the time, how she puts things off that don't need to be put off. Just, yeah, just forgetting to do stuff and not doing things when they need to get done and putting them off when they need not to be put off. That's about the only thing that bothers me. Other than that, Sabia doesn't do anything that irritates me at all. It's just her strength, her willingness, how determined she is to stick by my side and take care of me and love me for who I am and make me into a better person. She does little funny voices that me and her love. Me and her constantly are always winking at the same time at each other, which makes it feel like we're, I don't know. There's a lot of little things that I love about her.
What do I think is the best way to look after your mental health? I don't know if I'm really the one to give that advice because my mental health is trash, but I'm always a heavy advocate for therapy. I think even the happiest person on the planet should do therapy because it's just one time of the day or week that is solely about you, and it's your time to be selfish and say what you need to say and work through what you need to work through without worry of what other people are going to think about you or worry about other people finding out what you're saying, because it's just between you and the person you're talking to. So I'm a very heavy advocate for therapy, whether you think you need it or not.
The best way to look after your mental health is by talking to people, most definitely, about your problems and your situations or whatever, but also not focusing on what could have been and what could be. I mean, you can focus on what could be for your future and whatnot, but don't focus on what could have been, because that will just leave you in this drought pretty much, or in a slump. But I don't know, talking to people, hanging out with people, and just voicing how you feel and your concerns and your problems to a person is probably the best thing, just to get it out.
Um, hmm. There's a few, but the first one that always pops into my head is a childhood memory of a retelling of a childhood memory. And it's when I was really little and I'd always make Trix tell me about how when she used to take me on walks in the stroller on the gravel road, and I'd be sitting on her lap when she'd tell me, and she'd talk about how the bumps of the gravel road would put me to sleep, and then she'd bump her leg while she did it. And then, like, I don't remember the story exactly, but there were moments where, like, she'd, like, stop and I'd, like, pop my eyes open or something, and so then she'd keep doing the bumps, and she'd always bump her leg when she told me. And when I was really little, I always made her tell me that story from when I was a baby.
I had this childhood memory that of me diving off the diving board for the first time down in Fred, Nebraska, which is a blink of an eye town that my grandfather lives in, and the pool is shaped like a spin top, one of those things that you spin, just goes, and the middle of the pool is like 50 feet deep or whatever, 20 feet deep, whatever, super deep, and it's just a big round circular pool with a super deep middle, and they had this diving board that went right in the middle. And that I remember the first time diving off of that, and I couldn't swim at the time, so my brother Jaron actually had to like come out and recover me, and he ended up actually almost drowning himself too while trying to recover me because he wasn't the greatest swimmer. And but he was able to recover me, and he got me out of the pool, and we survived, obviously. But that was, I mean, it was scary at the time, but it's a happy, fond memory to look back on, because it was the first time I ever dove off a diving board and did all that. And, I don't know, just the adrenaline rush of it all. What's a habit that you would like to, or
I'd like to
trying
quit
to break?
vaping just because I'm not 17 anymore and it's actually affecting my body. So I'd like to quit vaping eventually. I'm not quite at the point where I'm like, yeah, I want to quit vaping, but I'd like to get there. And I don't know. Not necessarily a habit, but I'd like to be able to control my hyperfixations a little bit better. I kind of lose myself to them when they happen, which is what causes all the procrastination and forgetfulness, because whatever I'm hyperfixated on for that time period just kind of is all consuming in my brain, and so then I can't focus on anything else, and I'd like to get a hold of that somehow and kind of figure out a balance.
I'd really like to quit my smoking habit, obviously, just because I'm mainly all lungs now. So I'd really like to quit my smoking habit. That way I could prolong my life longer than it's already shortened to, given my situation. But that's about the only thing I'd say I want to change is my smoking habits. I wish I could quit. I quit smoking, and I want to be a better person than I am.
In what sense?
In how I treat and talk to people, and how I don't know, it's hard to explain. I want to change how I was hardwired to grow up to be, and Sabia's been helping me with that over time.
I think that's allowed to be on YouTube. No, I'm kidding.
Have to change your husband's colostomy
Yeah, I
bag.
was gonna say pretty much everything that comes with Lauren's care are things that probably if you asked me before Lauren's accident, I'd go, I wouldn't do that for anyone. And then Lauren's accident happened and it wasn't even a second thought, and it's never been a problem since. So,
Never thought I'd be married by the age of 20.
pleasures, I'd say guilty pleasures rather than embarrassment, because I wouldn't say I'm necessarily embarrassed of anything I enjoy.
Yeah, I don't have any answer for that
Good.
one.
When Lauren's accident happened and we didn't know if he was gonna live or not, I didn't know how to deal with that at first. And I remember you hadn't come down yet. You were still working to make your way down. It was like the first or second day we were there, because I was on the phone with you. And we were talking about how we didn't know if Lauren was going to live or not. And I don't remember exactly what you told me, but you told me something along the lines of whatever he decides needs to be his decision for him alone. That if he decides to live, he needs to do it for him. And if he decides to not live, that he also needs to do that for him. And that I can't allow myself to be an affecting factor of that. And that I also need to allow myself to come to terms with whichever decision he makes. So if he chose not to fight for the procedure and to just get on hospice care, that I can't hold that against him or try to change his mind, because that's his decision to make. And vice versa, if he decides to live, that I need to decide what my place in that is and choose it and support him in what way I can. So I say that's probably been what stuck with me since then, because I think it really not only affected my ability to not lose my shit when everything was going down, because at that point I was actively losing my shit, and it helped me kind of rein myself in, but it altered like my relationship with death kind of to a more understanding aspect when it happens, because I've noticed since then, you know, when we've had an animal pass away or a family member, it's a lot easier to just allow myself to mourn them without being so afraid or affected by the fact that they're not here anymore, you know, because I know that like we were just talking about the other day, you can't really fight something that you can't fight, and inevitable death is like that. And so that conversation we had back when his accident happened really just like, I think it helped my brain and like emotions kind of understand death in a way I hadn't really seen it before, where like, you know, you can't change it, and you can't hold it against someone, and you can mourn them and you can be sad, but you can't let it completely shatter you, because that won't change anything either, you know? And so that's stuck with me ever since then, and it's had a big impact on me. And it happens with pretty much all things Lauren too. Whenever he's in the hospital for something or having a procedure, I know that like what's going to happen is going to happen, and there's nothing I can do to change the outcome, and whichever outcome happens is the one that was going to happen, and that's just how it be. So
Piece of advice that I got and that always stuck in with me, it was the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. Somebody asked how tall I was before the accident happened. I was 5'11" before the accident, and now I'm 2'8".
we went to the DMV to get Lauren's new ID card, and we were filling out the stuff with the guy, and he was like, all right, and what's your height and weight? And Lauren's like 2'8" and 80 pounds.
90 pounds.
90 pounds, and he was like,
That's impossible.
he was like, there's no way you're 2'8", like, what's your actual height? And then Lauren like backed up his wheelchair, and he's like, no, like, I'm 2'8", and the guy was like, I'm so sorry.
Sometimes when I dream, so you asked, if when I dream, if I'm whole sometimes when I dream. In fact, yes, I am whole sometimes when I dream, sometimes I'm not, but most times I am, which is a great feeling. So I feel super lucky in that regard, that I was able to experience having legs before losing them, so that way I can dream about it. So hopefully I don't lose that, because that would suck. But yes, I do dream with having legs very often.
This is gonna sound funny, because it was a life lesson and became a running joke, but the bed set I got from Betty Lynn when I was like 11, because I asked her, she asked what I wanted for Christmas, and I told her I wanted that bed set, the black one with the white circles on it that I had when I was younger, because I had never had like a full matching bed set before. And I told her I wanted that, and then because it was Betty Lynn, I knew that's what I was getting, but she knew that I knew what I was getting. And so when Christmas Eve came around and we had our Christmas Eve party where we all got presents, we always snuck down to the basement to see how big our presents were. And she hid mine from me because I was too cocky. I knew what I was getting. And then present time came around and my present was like this big, and it was a little lump of coal. And then she later brought out my bed set, and it ended up, we still have that lump of coal that we put under the Christmas tree. I was like 10 or 11, and yeah, but it's because Betty Lynn, she always got us what we asked for. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting my bed set. And she was like, actually, you're getting a lump of coal in a life lesson to be grateful. And so that's, I wouldn't say my favorite present, but it's the most memorable. I did. I did.
I was gonna say.
It was my most memorable present. I would say my phone, but I'd say the last couple of months is probably my Kindle. It is a part of me. I have read 68 books in the last 2.5 months. Even if I leave my house and I don't read anything, my Kindle's in my purse with me, just in case I get 2 minutes to read my books.
Piece of technology that I'm grateful for is Ben Heck's Xbox controllers, because without that controller I would not be able to play video games at all. It's a Xbox controller that's been reconfigured to work with only one hand. If you guys want to check it out, it's on benheck.com. But they're pretty nice controllers. Something I find challenging about relationships in general is keeping things not interesting but not repetitive, or just trying to do new things every so often and getting out. And with relationships is staying connected to one another, actually caring about one another instead of hitting up that person when you need something. For instance, I try to make it a goal to hit up my family and tell them that I love them and have a good day instead of just calling them when I need something.
So as we said, this is just kind of us reflecting on the last 5 years, and we're posting it on the anniversary of the accident. I guess we should have been more specific about what anniversary we were working towards. So for everyone who thought it was about our wedding anniversary, thank you anyway for the congratulations and the well wishes and everything. We'll hold on to them when our anniversary for our wedding does come up, and maybe we'll even do something fun for that, who knows. But yeah, we hope you guys liked this, and we hope we had some decent questions for you, and we hope that it kind of helped give you some more insight in our relationship separate of what we've shared with you so far.
Make sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends and family, do all
the fun
that special stuff. Yep.
Yeah, and so we'll see you guys when we're live on October 4th, and that live will also be a follow-up to this video in case it incited any new questions for you guys that you want us to ask, or want us to, elaborate on any of our answers or anything like that. So, and if you have any extra comments or anything as well, you can comment them below this video so that we can cover them when that live happens as well, in case we don't catch them during the live chat. So, yeah.
Thank you guys. Have a good day.